here in the future since the last time I made a video. It's been a couple of weeks. We had the holidays and we had New Year's, and now we are into the second week of January. The hardcore server has been shut down, so the project that I was working on is over. That character has been moved off, all of the gear transferred to other servers. I now am on a new server. The next hardcore season hasn't started yet. They have not posted what that will be. Hardcore League Season 4, Severlin said in his recent interview that they are contemplating making the event shorter or having the rewards from previous hardcore seasons available. I have mixed feelings about both of those. I love the idea, though, of having the ability to work towards whatever reward you want, but I do think that they should come up with some sort of a unique, thrust for what the whole hardcore league story for that server is. So far, the first three, the first one was just mortality, testing mortals. The second one was Shavarath got involved, and we saw a bunch of really interesting champions that were from Shavarath, supposedly. And then the third one was the Archons, then gave us a shot, and because they are considered beneficial, the deities and demigods and all that from the Archon realm, gave us extra lives. So whether or not they will do that for the upcoming Hardcore League, recycle or renew or reuse ideas that they've already had, it seems to be an event that they like to run to generate money, but they don't put a ton of work into, evidenced by the very sparse narratives that I just went over and the rewards, which arguably are not very exciting. A lot of people who, if you were to just stop them on the street who play DDO and ask them if they participated in the Hardcore League, they would tell you that they had no interest to because the rewards were terrible. I concur, although I have been in all three of the hardcore leagues running my guild Death Smile, and I had a lot of fun. But I said each season that the rewards were lackluster. The helmets are okay. The cloaks are okay. The mounts are okay. But nothing is like a must-have. People are now saying that the red bloody footprints are a must-have because they're very helpful when raiding and questing. People can see the direction, let's say, the group leader went. And that was only a 5,000 favor reward, what people have since done for the horses. So, to allow us to go back to re-earn, let's say, bloody footprints would be really cool. But, the other side of that is that the first Hardcore League was sort of a very special event because nobody really knew what it was going to be. And it turned out to be extremely popular. And it was very difficult. It was before SSG did a bunch of their nerfs to the server, traps. Hardcore League Season 1, if you went into Korthos, there were traps in there that would insta-kill you. They were the old school, really tweaked up. After Hardcore League Season 1, they went through and did a patch where they watered down and basically trammelized everything, making it much, much easier. It's sort of almost brain dead easy now, where you could literally take Luke Skywalker's helmet from A New Hope that he practices against the remote, put it on your head, play DDO, and you probably wouldn't die for the first, 4 levels. But going forward, who's to say what they'll decide to do? But my point was that the people who participated in Hardcore League Season 1 earned those very unique rewards. For example, the Bloody Footprints and the Reaper 20-point pet are both highly sought after now because they're rare. Not a lot of people got them. Not a lot of people really knew what the Hardcore League was. So should SSG make that available now to the masses? It would sort of take away from the uniqueness of that first event. Now consider this too. I don't have either of those rewards. Hardcore League Season 1, I ran Death Smile. It was a new event for me. I didn't do that well. I managed to get 3 of the 5 rewards, but it was just a challenge. There were a lot of quests that were even though I had done them, it was just difficult. There were no extra lives either. So one mistake and you're out. So I played it very, very conservatively for Season 1. Season 2, I upped my game a bit and got a little more brave and managed to pull out 4 or 5 rewards. And then when they gave us the extra lives, well, then I just played as hard as I could. And I lost 1 of the 3 lives, taking a chance to do something. It was a really dumb death, actually, but then I managed to get 5 of 5 for that. So we'll see. So to get back to what I started with, I'm not a fan of the idea of short seasons because, it would, especially if they let you do a short season to get like Bloody Footprints, it would just completely devalue all the work that everybody else in the other hardcore seasons have done. Now, you could say to me, who cares? It's a game, man. And you know what? You're right. It really doesn't matter. Luckily, I'm not the guy who makes that decision. And I'll be there with Death Smile no matter what they do. They could make it a 12-hour event. Get your 5,000 favor in 12 hours and we'll give you the Bloody Footprints. I don't know. That's a joke, but I mean, who knows? I would say, though, as much of a fan, because I really am a fan of the event, it makes me feel like when the game was young, when it was first launched, the way that you can find groups and the dynamic of those groups and how everybody works as a team, it's not something you see on live servers. Live servers are full of TR train power creeped monsters that can literally solo raids. I mean, there's other people with YouTube channels who post videos of them soloing raids on Reaper. So, I mean, it's not like DDO when it first launched, but on Hardcore League, where nobody has any money and nobody has any past lives and nobody has level 200 guild and nobody has any gear and everybody is really worried about dying and having to start over again, people approach the game the same way that they did in 2006 and 7 when the game was new and nobody knew what was going on and the conditions were the same. It isn't the same game now that it was. It's a lot different, but it feels like it, and which is the draw for me. But, there are aspects of the Hardcore League that I don't like. One of the main things is that any time and money, real money now, that you invest, and I'm not talking about in-game credits or, DDO store points. I'm talking about actual real money. Not only lost in the time that you have to invest. Let's say if you go to 5,000 favor, that takes a lot of time. Okay, there's other things you could be doing in life that would probably better serve you than spending all that time. But that's more of a philosophical question. If we stick in the realm of DDO, well, you do invest all that time, and if you die, you have to start over again. If there's no way for the server lag to be compensated for, and you bought yourself a +7 tome, let's say, you're not getting that money back. You're not getting that time back. If the server lags and you crash and die, that's part of what you sign up for. The other thing that I don't like about the Hardcore League that they have built into it is the money sink around guilds. There is presently no way to take a guild and move it. I have submitted to SSG a method that they could implement to do that. It involves a guild gem that slots very similarly to our sentient gems in our weapons. What you would do is slot the gem, and then all the guild renown would go into the gem, and as a result the gem would unlock and apply the same buffs that it does to the ship. But you could unslot the gem from the ship, from the guild panel on your character, and then transfer that character with the gem to another server and slot the gem into another guild, and there you go, you'd have it. Having run 3 Death Smile guilds on Hardcore League with the biggest ship and all the amenities unlocked, you do the math. That's a lot of Astro Shards. That is a lot of money. Thankfully, Death Smile is popular and we get a lot of donations. I could never do that without the help of everybody who joins and plays. Everybody is fantastic that way, but I end up feeling very bad after taking donations from 500 people to get the guild to this perfect state. We reached 100, I think we were 114 guild level in Death Smile in Season 3. That then SSG just deletes all of that effort. And it's not just my effort. We're talking about when Hardcore League launches, the first week we get around 950 unique accounts, and then as the season progresses towards the end, we wind up with around 650 unique people playing by the end of it. 600 to 650 people. That is a massive, massive guild for a game where, and I don't know if you know this, DDO is designed around a 6-person classic Dungeons and Dragons party, pen and paper party of 6 people. The ideal renown, all of the perks and benefits of the guild are designed for 6 people. There's only 3 ranks. You get a membership, you officer, or you can be the leader. You can, as the leader, set a successor, but the successor gets no extra abilities. The guildmaster, him or herself, has no extra abilities over the officers, with the only exception is that they can remove officers or pick a successor. But as far as controlling the guild assets, maintaining the guild banks, auditing the guild banks, let's say if somebody were to loot them, that doesn't exist in DDO. Because it's designed for a group of 6, probably friends, to play. So when you have an event that has almost 1,000 people in a guild, 1,000 unique accounts now. I'm not talking about 1,000 alts and there's 100 people. We're talking 950 unique individuals who play. And that is a lot, it stresses the guild system. So that is yet another thing. I have requested not only the ability to move guilds off of the Hardcore League server with my guild gem idea, but I've also recommended and submitted to SSG a long list of changes that would enhance the ability that a guild master, the successor, and the officers would have to make the Hardcore League event much, much better for not only the players, but easier for the officers, easier for the guildmaster, easier all around. I mean, there's just some things that it does not, the game just was not coded. It doesn't understand a modern MMO with players and trolls and people who are just not on the Hardcore League server to play the game. They're there to troll. They're there to cause trouble. It doesn't happen that often. It's a very low percentage of the population. I would say 99% of the people who log in and play over on the Hardcore League are there to really participate and enjoy the event, and they're wonderful people. But, you always get like that 1% of the, I don't know what it is about MMOs. It seems to draw that troll factor. You'll see it with names. People like to make silly names. Sometimes they're funny, and you'll see a weird death message, you know. But the other side of the trolling is that they'll loot your guild bank completely dry, and other games are built that other games have audits. When I GM'd a 1,000-person guild in Star Wars: The Old Republic, I had the ability, because they built that game, BioWare built Star Wars: The Old Republic around the idea that guilds would be 1,000 people. And so as a result, I had the ability to audit every single transaction that went in and out of that guild bank. And I could see who just joined to, steal from the guild or act out their fantasy of being a real world rogue. I understand that that is a trope of Dungeons and Dragons, the rogue that steals from his own party. I get that. But at the same time, when I'm trying to run a guild, or somebody else is running a guild where you have genuinely new players who are trying to participate in a Hardcore League event, and they are really in need of assistance, they need some help, and people put gear in the guild banks for a reason to help other players. People donate to help other players. People get the guild buffs up and running, so we all benefit. It's a collaborative. It's a fantastic idea, having a guild. And I recommend, it's one of my recommended strategies for succeeding at the Hardcore League, if you've watched my previous videos. But the problem is that, DDO is not set up to audit. And as a result, I can, have really full guild banks and a bunch of people who are relying on them for help, and they're taking the gear and really utilizing it, and then somebody logs in, trolls us, takes it all, and I have nothing I can do to stop it. Another thing too is what we had in seasons, all 3 seasons we saw a little of this. Season 3 was probably the worst, but we'll see people who log in and they'll take whatever news of the day is going on, or maybe they had a bad day, and they'll troll in guild chat about politics or about very controversial issues. And so on my website, on the Discord that we have for Death Smile, we have the guild rules posted. But so my point is, they'll violate the guild. They'll post something racist or extreme political in guild, and I'll warn them, and then they keep doing it, and so then I ban them, let's say, right? They said something racist in guild chat, I ban them. I have no ability, and nobody does in DDO, because of the way guilds are set up. They lack a fundamental ability to ban an account. So, the person who said something racist could then just make another character and join the guild. I've seen that happen in Hardcore Leagues 1, 2, and 3. In Hardcore League 2, I decided to set up an alliance between the other guild masters of the larger guilds, because Death Smile was one of the larger guilds. And so I met with other guild leaders, and we decided to sort of act like a United Nations, where if somebody said something like racist in guild chat, for example, or sexist or something like that, we would put their name on a list of a permaban that, would circulate amongst the guild leaders, just so people wouldn't be encouraged to just act like, you know, trolls in one guild and then go hide out in another guild. Um, that also did not really work because DDO has no real built-in audit to prevent trolling. There was no way for me to permaban a player their account. There was no way for me to ally with another guild and sort of mirror that ban of let's say the person posted racist stuff in another guild and then that person comes over to my guild. Unless the GM tells me that, I have no idea. That person could have just, flamed everybody over in that one guild and then they try to hide out in mine. And that actually happened more times. I mean, I won't get into all the gory details because it's boring at this point, but the point is, I don't blame the troll. Trolls are always going to be there. I have we're friendly. The Black Lives Matter. We are open to anybody. And so if somebody comes into the guild and is racist or posting very extreme political views, they're going to be removed just because it's a violation of the guild policy. So the point is that it's a lot of time and effort and wasted money because the fundamental guild structure of DDO is not set up to handle a modern 1,000-player guild. And as a result, a lot of the issues that people see, the trolls and things like that, would very easily be eliminated. In Star Wars The Old Republic, if I banned a character, they were banned across any version of themselves. Their whole account was banned. So they could never come back to the guild. The same thing for your personal bans. If somebody aggravated you in a quest and you never wanted to run with that person again, you would ban their legacy and they could never, any character they have would not be able to even interact with you. In DDO, that's not the case. If you don't like a player and you ban them, they could log into another character and come and bother you again if they really wanted to. Maybe in the future DDO will move towards that, but I doubt it. And I've had this conversation with other people in the DDO community. One of the things that's really important to understand that I always like to bring up is that DDO, when it got purchased by SSG from Turbine, SSG purchased Lotro and DDO as turnkey games. Turbine just handed them the keys. They didn't even hand over thorough records. For example, SSG does not know who the original actor from the Harbor Quests was, because when they purchased the company, there were no records of the voice actor, no payments, no financial info, no social security number, no voice actor names on the tape that they would have. Any voice actor who does any voice acting, that info is all marked on a header on a tape. They didn't get any of that stuff. SSG just bought the turnkey. It was a company that made such and such a month on subscriptions. All they had to do was buy these 2 candy machines and upgrade the candy with new candy. So we've got our Feywild, we've got our Sharn, we've got our Ravenloft, but the actual candy machine will not change. So I'm not very hopeful that we'll get mega servers where they fundamentally change and allow us to have a modern MMO experience in the DDO world. I'm not a soothsayer. I'm not predicting the future. I don't secretly moonlight as a burning bush, but I would say to you that the only way I think we'll ever see that kind of change in DDO and Lotro is if SSG sold the company and another entity bought them with the intent of modernizing it Likely, though, that would only happen if the person who bought it was some sort of a philanthropist who wanted to make it an open source game available. And likely that would never happen because Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro owns Dungeons and Dragons, and they would likely just bury it, to be honest with you. So they would. It's much more lucrative for anybody to just design a new game than to keep a game around that has a player base of maybe 10,000 people. I mean, because that, let's be honest, DDO, how many people play it? I know that they say that they have 50,000-ish logins or whatever it is. I don't know the exact numbers, but I suspect, based on what I see, that the total player base is around 10,000 people with a core of around 5,000 actual players who play on a daily basis between all the servers. So you're talking 5,000 people. Those aren't real numbers based on anything other than me observing and calculating based on a couple of factors that I won't bore you with. But other people have remarked on this, so I'm just adding 2 cents. And again, this is only opinion. So what are we doing here? We are on a new server, and I am on a new build. This is my baby bear build, and I am level 4. I haven't done anything. I just made the character and took stuff out of the bank. I made this because in the previous Hardcore League video series that I made with Platinum the Warlock, I was focusing on a couple of things: survival and how-to, which I want to continue that here. But I also wanted to showcase a little bit of the baby bear build and show you that, while it's a very niche build, it won't be for everyone. It certainly works. It's not perfect. There are areas that it lacks behind and needs gear. For example, right now, I have 32-point characters unlocked. So I had to start with a 16 strength, a 14 constitution, and a 16 intelligence. If you were a 28-point build, you would have started with a 14, a 10, a 14, a 14, a 10, and an 8. But that is very challenging because if you don't have a guild, you will not be able to cast druid spells unless you found an item. I have guild buffs. I managed to join a guild on Orion, and so I've got the +2 to wisdom, so I can actually go and memorize some druid spells. I wasn't able to do that before. But what I want to do in this video is showcase a problem. There is presently a bug in DDO where proof against poison and proof against disease items are not working. They should. If we read it, they say it grants the wearer immunity to natural poisons and then grants an enhancement bonus to the saving throw against magical, and they don't have supernatural poisons, but supernatural poisons exist. Magical poisons, supernatural poisons, that the wearer does not fail a saving throw on an automatic roll of a 1, and in parenthesis, this therefore renders the wearer immune to magical poisons with a DC of less than 3 plus the fortitude save of the character. Now that might sound complicated, and we'll take it, this goes back to when Menace of the Underdark was released. Prior to that, poison immunity was an all-encompassing thing. It was like fear immunity. So anytime you encountered poison, if you had a poison immunity item, you were immune. That was simply the case. It was fantastic. You get a proof against poison. Very worth it. In today's DDO, after Menace of the Underdark, they broke poison into 3 categories. They did the same thing with diseases. Um, you've got natural poisons and diseases, supernatural poison and diseases, and magical poison and diseases. And the items would only give you a real immunity to the natural version of poison and disease. And then whatever the bonus is, if your saving throw was high enough, you gained a sort of a fake immunity to magical and in some certain cases supernatural. Although most supernatural most supernatural poison and disease you see are in raids, with the exception of mummy rot is supernatural. It's a supernatural disease. But so I have an item on here. We're going to go test it out and see how it works. The gear that I'm using is garbage. I don't really have any gear. It's just some crappy leather armor that they gave me when I made the character, and I've got a deadly +1 on my goggles. I've got the proof against poison necklace. I picked up a crude bauble, which gives me a little fortification and false life. I've got the axe block from the Führer's hide. This is an old item I just had in the bank. I'm wearing the free boots that I got when I signed up. And then my +2 resistance ring, and then I have a Vorpal greatsword that I've had sitting in the bank for a long time because I don't think low-level Vorpals spawn anymore. At least they haven't in quite a while. I am in the marketplace, though. We are going to actually check and see if there are any low-level Vorpals. I don't think that they spawn anymore, though. So, you know, I mean, there are a couple of nice great axes, but if you're wondering what two-handed weapons are the best damage, it's a greatsword. Yeah, I don't see any Vorpal. So it's something that I probably should just not use and just try to sell, but and there is armor, but I'm such a low level that it really won't make any difference. Although this reinforced acid resist armor is better than the magnetism armor that I have, so I will get that and put it on. The cosmetic that I have on came with the Feywilds. It's just some Eladrin plate, which, you know, I don't technically, it's okay. I don't need to use it, but a lot of the leather armor looks I don't really like, so I'd rather have that. You can see I don't have much money. I don't have any Astral Shards on this server. The only other things I have in my bank, I don't have any magical thieves tools. I've got the Feywild Muse. I've got my Illyri. Got the free cake. I've got my underwater breathing thing. I picked up my celestial mount from the reward vendor, so I have a horse, and then I've got my 3 fast travel items from the expansions. That's pretty much it. I've got power attack as the build. This is a strength build, so I prioritize strength. You can see I have 2 levels of Druid. The next time I level up at level 5, I will take another level of Druid. So I will be able to get natural fighting, I think, is my next feat. We'll see. I have to look at the build. Even though it's my build, I don't have it memorized. So I will set some of my druid spells since my wisdom is high enough now. So here is my lesser vigor. Here is my jump, very important. And my maul. This maul is great. because it's part of my attack when I'm in animal form. Lesser Vigor is my heal. You can see I took Maximize. I use Maximize on my Vigors to increase the healing, although I'm not going to use it at this low level. I also, because I have Artificer level, this is how the Baby Bear build traps. It takes Artificer levels. I do have the Admix heal, Cure Light Wounds here, so for a few levels I can use that, but I do not think I can use it in bear form, so I usually don't. What I will do is buy some potions. But the first thing we're going to do is we are going to go test our proof against poison. Now, natural poison immunity means that anything with natural poison I should be completely immune to and take no damage. And a really easy place to test this is in this quest right here, the Sunken Sewer. We'll go in on Elite, and this quest has a lot of poison. So we can see right away. Now, even though I'm in bear form, it should not matter that proof against poison should work. You know, it should work. It shouldn't matter that I'm in bear form for the proof against poison. So these traps, it is a poison, a natural poison trap. This is a mechanical natural poison trap. If I were on a Warforged, and you guys can try this, I should be able to stand in this trap and take no damage. I know for a fact when I walk into this, I'm going to die. I've already had it happen to me on the Hardcore League, and this is why I know it's broke. This is why I keep submitting tickets to SSG to take a look at these immunity items, because they don't work. There, you see that damage that I just took, and I died. Now, if this were Hardcore League, well, there we go. I'd be dead. I'd be out. I'd be out of the game. There it is, the death. I should not have taken that damage. It doesn't even register here, does it? Yeah, see, spider venom trap. Spider venom is natural poison. Not working. This item is not working. And that's just one. We will test. We will actually go and get bit by a spider. Poison appears all over the place. This is fantastic. I just got incapacitated. Hopefully, hopefully I don't die here. I forgot, because this character's new, I don't have Featherfall. Okay, I stabilized. With any luck, I will actually regenerate. There we go. Okay. So let's do that. Yeah, there we go. Throw a potion at my feet. Throw a vigor on myself. And I will go to the guild ship and I will re-get my buffs. There we go. So, quests like Proof is in the Poison, quests like Red Fang, all the spiders that are out in Tangleroot. I mean, they need to fix this. There's poison, low-level poisons and low-level diseases that these items should be protecting against that they're not. Another good example of a natural poison is in Red Fang. Red Fang is filled with natural poison traps and spiders. So, you know, I mean, we'll do it again. Here it is on Elite. I mean, forget it if you were to do this on Reaper. It would be even more damage. Okay, there's a fire trap. Now, I want to fight a spider, but I don't want to fight a Soul of Cruelty because they are very tough. I just want a regular spider. Yeah, see, he put a dot on me. Oh, so one of the interesting things about the baby bear build, which is what I can show you, is that because it's a hybrid, you need gear. So it's something that you have to be aware of if you're playing this build. And spot, even though my spot is 9, I have terrible gear right now. So I was not able to spot that fire trap. I could search for it and find it, but the spot number is a little bit higher. I think it's 10 and I'm only at a 9. So, you know, unless you're a rogue, but you can easily do this build because the spot is high enough, as long as you have a sense of where the traps are. Now, that's one of the problems I just demonstrated to you with alchemists and healing and artificers with these admixture spells. They're terrible. I never like to use them. They are extremely frustrating because rather than throwing the potion at my feet, I am throwing it over here somewhere. It has such a slow cooldown that I literally, even if I target myself, watch. You know, like, but in combat, it's just too slow. It's too slow. Okay, there we go. We have enough hit points now. So I'm going to let this spider just beat up on me. And see, that's a poison attack. He missed. There's another poison attack. He missed. Just going to let him. There's a poison attack. Okay, so see, he poisoned me. I have the little poison mark over my head. And we can see poison. Spider poison is a natural poison. You have been poisoned by a spider and may soon take additional damage. Well, I am wearing a proof against poison item which grants me immunity, and yet I am clearly not immune. So, those items are not working. Now, I'm too low level to actually do this quest, but I do want to show you that I believe I'm going to take off my +2 to resistance so I can get my saving throws lower. Looks like I made the save to that poison. I rolled a 20. But I was hoping that I roll low because I think I still would have taken damage. I don't think the bonus is working either. The enhancement bonus saying I do not fail saving throws on the roll of a natural 1. Well, that's something else that I don't think is working. And we can easily test that with these little guys right here, because these are arsenic. Arsenic in DDO is a natural poison. If I fail my saving throw, I will suffer constitution damage. Now I have proof against poison on. And we're going to see, maybe I can roll. Do I have save bonuses anywhere else? No. Maybe I can roll very low. And we'll see. Hopefully I roll a 1. I should not fail ever with that on, but let's see what I roll. Okay, I rolled a 17. That was a very good roll. How often have you sat around a table playing Dungeons and Dragons and tried to roll a 1 and you can't? Right? Okay, he poisoned me. That's great. We'll see. We'll let this one time out as well. Natural poison, spider venom. So at these low levels, you can even play this build with a repeater. Even though all of your points go into strength. You know, at very low levels, it's, you know, easy. Okay, what's my roll? I rolled an 11, so I saved. We are going to roll a 1. I am committed. Here, there's more arsenic. Okay, you can see right there. I just failed. Even though it says here I took damage, somewhere in there I failed. Yeah, there it is. I rolled a 1. Arsenic hit me for 1 point of constitution damage. Well, that is not... I mean, that shows exactly what I'm talking about. These items, not only are they not granting immunity, but they are not providing the follow-up effect that is supposed to render a wearer immune if and not fail on a natural 1. That's not working either. I don't know, at some point, it used to work, at some point it was broken. One of the updates SSG did broke it, and so now it doesn't work. And it's extremely frustrating because the reason I wanted to make this, what does it have to do with Hardcore League? Well, if you are a character new to the hardcore, you're a player, and you're trying to go for the rewards for the first time, and you're gearing up, and on Hardcore League the gear is terrible. I mean, this is this sort of similar situation that you would have on the Hardcore League. What is the point of wearing an item that says proof against poison if it literally does nothing? It does nothing. It's just wasting a slot. And if they're going to have items like that in the game, well, then I say the game is broken. Imagine for a second that magic missile, shield, or night shield did not make you immune to magic missile. If it only conferred a shield bonus or a save bonus to you, which is crazy to think about because people rely on shield and night shield to be immune to magic missiles. So it's a huge deal for these items not to be working. It's something that SSG needs to fix before the next Hardcore League starts. Now let's try. We will repair. Oh, I already did that. Okay. So what I need to do is go to the Gatekeeper's Grove. And the Gatekeeper's Grove, the quickest way for me to go is just to go to the harbor. Because what we want to do, the first thing that you want to do when you make your character on hardcore is what? I'll show you. We're going to show you. If you haven't seen my other videos, I'll show you. So I actually, here's the, you can talk to this guy and get a green bag, a free green mini bag. But I'll show you something better. As soon as you make your character, you're at Korthos, leave Korthos, come to the market, go into the market, and go to the 12. The 12 will give you a small green bag, which is much better than the tiny green bag. And they'll give it to you for free. You don't have to do anything. He doesn't care who you are. You're a complete stranger to him, but he is that friendly. It's this guy right here. Talk to him, and he gives you a small ingredients bag that you can then take and activate. Pretty cool. So that's one of the first things you do, and you pick up all of your bags in the harbor, except for that one. You come to the 12, and then go to the Gatekeeper's Grove, and go to the Borderlands if you own it. Because in the Borderlands, you can farm for a feather falling cloak, so you don't have to almost kill yourself jumping like I keep doing. This is the Gatekeeper's Grove. And we want to pick up all of these quests. It would be nice if when you talk to this first character that he would give you all of the quests from these characters, but I know that's too crazy to ask for. The next thing we want to do, though, is purchase cure potions so I don't die. And I believe you can get them from one of these vendors. Is it this vendor? Well, this vendor literally has everything but potions. So, I need to maybe check this guy. Does he have potions? No. But we can go to Korthos and buy starter potions. And they're very cheap. Now, on the Hardcore League, I say that you leave this area first and go to the Borderlands, so you'd be running around with no potions, but that's okay. Out in the starter area, you can find money and come back here and buy potions. So nice and cheap. I just bought 30. I'll put them on my bar. That way I can heal up if something happens. We'll go back. And we'll go out into the wild. I'll just do a run and check and see if the rares are up. And if they're not up, then I will go and do a couple of the quests. I'm not going to fight anything that I don't have to, so there's nothing up there. the next rare is at the camp at the top of the hill over here. And I'll do a basic route in here if you don't know it. I will have to fight these wolves. If I can get off my horse, that'd be great. The fountain tried to slow me. The rare is not up here, unfortunately. So this is where you'd get some money and some potions. See, here's 2 more. And you just come out here, farm this stuff, and you can buy stuff in Korthos. But this is a good strategy. Again, I've shown you, I demonstrated how to do this in a previous video. I have no feather fall. If you were to just jump, even though there's water, it's tricky. You may die, but you can always just jump right over here and then slide. You want to push into the wall and slide, and that will keep you from taking a lot of damage. The reason to come out here is it's pretty easy farm for this stuff, and it really will help you on the hardcore league. It'll also give me a chance, because I'm headed to the spiders now, to see what happens with their spider venom. Maybe it's coded differently. I don't think it would be, but you never know. I have stopped assuming when it comes to things occurring in DDO. So here too, we want to slide, pushing into the wall, and then down. So this spider, I want him to, I'm going to let both of these guys try to poison me. There we go. I got poisoned. And it is the same. Spider venom, natural poison. If I fail, I take strength damage. So we'll see what happens if I miss my saving throw. There's the crust. Okay. Well, I made my save. But as we saw, I can still fail saves, so they need to fix it. Now the same problem occurs with proof against disease items and protection from evil. Protection from evil is supposed to keep you from being dominated or controlled, commanded, charmed by an enemy monster. It's a fantastic thing when it works, but that also is broken and not working. You can still be charmed and commanded and dominated presently, even though you're wearing protection from evil. These bonuses, proof against poison, proof against disease, protection from evil, they show up on a lot of items. So, I mean, it's really frustrating to think that they are not working as they should. With any luck, I'll get a... Oh, I didn't. Although those goggles for this build are good, so I am going to equip them. See if the ogre is at the top of the hill over here. Doesn't look like he is. Amber Vial, which is a good name for a character. If you want to make a DDO tune that sounds like it has an OnlyFans. We'll see if the little goblin general is over here. I don't think he is. Usually you don't see him. He's one of the rare ones. But he will be right in front of us. Yeah, see, he's not here. He's very rare. I said it in the previous video, these wolf riders can be a pain, but you can see melee builds do really well out here at low levels. Not much of an issue. Melee builds in general, unless you're playing high-level Reaper against champions or Reapers, most melee builds will do really well at DDO. DDO was sort of designed around the melee classes. Archery bows have always been terrible. Crossbows have always been terrible. Spell casting has always been too slow. SSG did a good job at speeding up casting and making it do more damage, and then also with their inquisitive, making bows, crossbows better. We'll see. They have a bow universal tree coming out. Who knows what's going to happen with what they do with that. If it's anything like Fey Dark Illusionist, it's going to be awful, because Fey Dark Illusionist is probably arguably the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen added to any video game. I have no idea what. It doesn't make any sense. I've played Dungeons and Dragons. I don't understand what class that would be useful for. I know people like the bonus to charisma for hit and damage, but that's just one tiny aspect of a whole tree that literally makes no sense. What is it? Who is it for? I spec'd the entire tree on my actual illusionist wizard, and it made the illusionist wizard so weak that it started dying in the easiest content. The SLAs are awful. They don't do any damage. The spells that they added, that shadow weapon that you can conjure is, you know, I mean, you could argue that it's slightly better than like a random gen item, but it's terrible. I just don't understand. You know, is it a tree for a paladin? What does a paladin have to do with the Feydark? Why is it called an illusionist if it's for a melee? It literally has nothing to do with an actual illusionist. An actual illusionist would be severely weakened if they went into that tree. You are much, much, much better being in Archmage, the Pale Master, or the Eldritch Knight trees. The only benefit for the Feydark Illusionist is the core tier 1 The core one that you get for your first buy-in gives you +5 universal and +5 force spell power. Now that's really good. That's OP, considering that Harper gives you +1 universal. So, I mean, they're giving you +5. So, core 1 is good if you have an extra universal point that you haven't spent and you want to get some free spell power. But everything else, if you're not charisma based, now I submitted on the test server every iteration of Lamania that they needed to make it charisma, wisdom, and intelligence, all three that you picked to get the bonus for hit and damage, because it also would go along with the charisma, wisdom, and intelligence for the other abilities that they had in the tree, as well as giving you the option to play and get a bonus on an actual wizard illusionist. I don't know. I bought it. I support SSG, so I bought the expansion, and you know I have it. But to me, it's idiotic. It makes no sense. I'm in the Inquisitive as my. I could get the spell power, the universal spell power, but for me, +1 to attack with all weapons for this build is better. So, for now. Later on, who knows? I'm going to speed this up because there isn't another rare for quite a while. I have to go to the other side of the map. But I am in the location where the quests are, so. Going to skip these wolves. We're just trying to find a feather falling cloak. I could go craft a feather falling item. It's very simple too, but I'd rather just loot one out here. This is what I recommend for the hardcore season, so we'll stick to it. Even though this isn't a hardcore server, I'm going to be playing as if I were on hardcore, so. At least until the new hardcore season starts. So here's the next rare. We have to talk to him, and then he will trigger these guys. This build is a lot of fun, though. It's mostly druid, so you benefit from all the druid. It's mostly druid. You get your trapping from artificer, and it's not perfect. You have to really focus on getting gear and putting points every level in search and disable device. As you get higher up, you lose the ability to open locks. You know, it's not a perfect build, but it works. You can play it all the way into legendary content, but, you know, again, you have to do a lot of gear farming to make sure that you have your DCs where they need to be. Where this build is the weakest is probably around level 19 when it comes to trapping. A real trapper is going to be much better at trapping than this build, but you know, it can get you through the Hardcore League elite content. I wouldn't say it would work well in Reaper. You can do it, but I use a Warlock for Reaper content. So we'll see how we do. Get myself some heals going with that hot. And play this as if I were on the Hardcore League. Now, so here's scorpions. Let's see if they can poison me. Because I actually... I vorpled one. I didn't even mean to vorple him, but I did. Will he poison me? Yes, he did. Okay, great. So I'm poisoned. This is scorpion poison. Scorpion poison is a natural poison. And if I fail my save, I will take constitution damage. I should not fail this save. But as we've seen, it's broke. It likely is broke for scorpion poison as well as spider poison. But you never know. I will do my search for traps. There it is. You can trap in bear form, as you've seen, and I'm using the worst thieves tools you can get, just the standard. Where are they? These are just thieves tools +1. My disable is awful. It is 14. Now I rolled a 20 versus that poison, so I don't know what would have happened. We can guess that if I failed, I would have taken constitution damage, because that's what happened with the spider venom. But you know, without hard data, we're speculating. But clearly something needs to be fixed. Now, what I'm doing here is not required. I am taking damage I shouldn't, because on Hardcore League I would never come in here. But what I wanted to do is try to get poisoned again by these little spiderlings, just to see if the code is consistent. So there, I got poisoned. Now I'll get rid of them. Oh, okay, so I just showed you something else. You can throw potions as a bear, as an animal. Does it make any sense? No. Why I can't, as a bear, read a scroll, but I can chuck a potion? Where am I throwing it? I think I'm barfing it up. I'll have to look at the animation and see where that potion's either coming from my mouth or my butt, right? I don't know. Where are these potions coming from that I'm throwing? Likely I'm just barfing it up, which is kind of cool, but you know, I have always thought that in animal shape you should be able to read scrolls. So let's see where it comes from. Oh, I mean, he just chucks it with a paw. So, you know, if I could do that, I could probably play baseball. And if I can play baseball, then I need to be able to read signals from my catcher, right? If I'm pitching. Or read a scroll. Right now, I cannot read scrolls. I have to drop animal form to read a scroll. Attacking bones with a sword. Not smart. Probably notch damage on it. That's a little bit damaged. Okay, we're almost at the end. It really frustrates me that the proof against poison, proof against disease items are not working, because you guys know, if you watched my videos on what the best character race for Hardcore is, I selected Warforged. as the best all-around race. And one of the reasons is that it has built-in immunities. Warforged are automatically racially immune to natural poisons and natural diseases. And that is a huge advantage. So if you decided, let's say, to make another race and you happen to have a proof against disease ring and a proof against poison necklace, then you would benefit at low levels the same as a Warforged. It would just help you survive. So without just saying it again and again and again, they need to fix it. We don't want to have to force everyone to play Warforged. Although, if they don't fix it, the best thing to do is play Warforged. You know, or a Tiefling. Tieflings have natural fear immunity right out of the box. People have posted on the forums that some of the fear immunities are not working correctly. So that is something, all the immunity, basically, immunities in general need to be examined by SSG. We need to know what is going on. Why aren't they working? Are they functioning as they think they should? And if that's the case, they need to update what the items do, so people aren't relying on them to provide them with immunities and then not receiving that immunity. And I would make the argument that, you know, this is not, even though it's a homebrew, DDO is a homebrew. It is an amalgam of 3.5, 5E rules. You know, even though it is a homebrew and they can do whatever they want, you know, people come here and play it because it's Dungeons and Dragons. We should be giving them Dungeons and Dragons items that are similar to the items in the Dungeon Master's Guide. You know, so if somebody looks up, for example, protection from evil item in any of the different rules, they're all very similar. They do similar thing, and one of them is making you immune to charms, compulsions, and commands, dominations, and that sort of thing. So, you know, they should certainly do that for us in DDO. Otherwise, they should just make the, if they think it's too overpowered or something, they should just make the items super rare. You know, it doesn't make much sense to do that because on all the live servers, people have, you know, decades worth of gear. But on a hardcore league, it certainly would make it much easier to survive if you're immune to certain things. Just like this low-level Vorpal that I have that no longer spawns. You can't get these on the hardcore league, and it, you know, while it's not making the game super OP over where I'm murdering everything, it certainly is making it a little easier. A little bit easier. Where I can, you know, potentially Vorpal a bad guy. Let's see, maybe I can Vorpal one of these bears before he even knows that his bear buddy is attacking him. No, no Vorpals. No Vorpals. Interesting thing, when Vorpal first came out, you only needed to roll a 20 for it to activate the Vorpal effect and to insta-kill the monster. So there was no confirming roll. You didn't have to confirm your critical hit. They added that much later. Because Vorpal was just owning everything. People would go through the only raid when the game launched in 2006 was Tempest Spine, but I remember the guy, I think he pulled the first Vorpal on the server, and he used it so much that it literally disintegrated. It was just an entire red bar of damage with a sliver of blue, and then he eventually couldn't use it anymore. This was before they had the things that allow you to fix permanent damage. This was before you could bind items to you. Now they added the ritual of binding, which would allow you to bind an item and then prevent it from taking permanent damage. But They didn't add the oil that restores that for much, much later. So, he used that Vorpal item so much that it just disintegrated. But he used to be able to go into Tempest Spine or Cult of the Six or any of those early game loot runs, giant caves. When the game first launched, the loot run was Tempest Spine, giant caves, Cult of Six. So he would go in there and just Vorpal all the giants. It's fantastic. But then they added the confirm and sort of took the fun away. The same sort of thing with Wail of the Banshee, where it didn't, it used to just kill everything in its area. It wasn't limited to 6 and doing 2 at a time or whatever the spell does now. Whatever nerf nonsense that they changed and broke our beloved game by nerfing it. And that's what happens. I was on the forums today posting about people. They're complaining that alchemists need to be nerfed, and I could go off on a very long diatribe about why nerfs kill video games. I have seen it so many times where they just nerf things and it drives people away, and then the game culture evolves into just a group of casuals. Really, you lose all the core people. So I don't play Alchemist, but I did play one on the hardcore league, and I gotta tell you, I did not feel like it was overpowered at all. I felt extraordinarily squishy. Now, keep in mind, the people posting on the forums that they need to be nerfed are these Reaper 10 end game 120 plus past lives, complaining that they can't keep up with Alchemist because the AoE of the Alchemist is just too strong. Okay, that may be the case, but do you know what population of DDO has 120 past lives and plays Reaper 10 content only? I mean, I know it grows there's always more people playing Reaper, but you don't see that kind of thing. If you play casual or if you're on hardcore league, nobody's doing that. And the Alchemist out of the box on a first level tune is far from OP. I just didn't see it, even with the ability to multi-vial at level 12. Even with the base immunities that class gets, even with evasion. Remember, they're running around in robes. I just didn't see it. But, that's my opinion. Again, I don't moonlight as a burning bush. I honestly have no idea what I'm talking about. It's arguable that I have any clue at all about anything. So, I don't know. Not making these videos because I'm any sort of an expert or a pro. I'm just making them because I think I have a unique perspective running the guild for 3 hardcore leagues and meeting all of the people and learning all of the things that I did, and the fact that I've played this game since it launched, and I love Dungeons and Dragons in general. So, but really a large driving factor for me to make these videos isn't to teach or to show you guys. It's more to hang out. We're now in month 10 of the lockdown, month 11 of this crazy year lockdown that we've had, where people are getting sick and dying, and people are broke and can't afford to eat, and they're getting kicked out of their houses and there's no help. It's just extremely depressing. And, you know, being stuck in the house, you know, I mean, I figured, well, maybe I could, even though I can't hang out with people in real life, you know, hang out virtually. You guys don't know me, but I mean, I'm sure I'm very similar to the type of a person that you could, you know, play Dungeons and Dragons with in your neighborhood or in school or, you know, whatever. So I consider all of you guys digital buddies. So here I am, your digital buddy, running around on a bear. I've said it before, on Hardcore League, these fire guardians, they can kill you pretty quick. You have to be careful. I have a bunch of hit points, but if you were at all squishy coming in here, you'd have to watch out for them. That noise was my Apple Watch. It's telling me to stand or do something. I don't know. This watch is my digital buddy. It talks to me. Doesn't really say anything important or necessary, but talks to me. I look forward to the day when these devices are smart enough to talk to me, so I could have a little digital buddy. You know, why doesn't my phone know me? Why doesn't my phone say, hey, it's Tuesday, do you want to call so-and-so? You always call them on Tuesday. You know, or, you know, hey, you want me to put in that order for pizza? You know, it's Wednesday and you always order pizza on Wednesday. Why isn't it smart enough to know that stuff yet? I send out text messages and it prompts me little words, and some of the words that they pick I never use. Is it really that hard for the phone to learn what words I use? It doesn't seem like it should be that hard. Notice I am not using the summon because the companion, people will tell you that the companions are good at low levels, but you know, I'm a believer that you'll be a better player if you don't get any help at all with hirelings and companions, but I just don't think that the wolf companions are implemented in a way that's very helpful. They quickly become very dumb. The summon one that I have out is extremely weak, but he will draw aggro, which is why I, you know, wanted to get him out. And he did his job. See if I can blow up a box. Nope. Should be good enough that you're not blowing up boxes on this build. Obviously, you want to get the best picks you can get and get yourself gear that will help you get your intelligence up, because intelligence is the stat you need to trap. But right now my gear is so bad. And you can see how important magic missile immunity is. I don't have it right now and took a bunch of damage from those magic missiles. These little guys really aren't hurting me. It was the magic missiles that hurt me the most. Keep vigor on myself. So you could maximize vigor if you wanted a much better heal. It's just you would run out of mana quicker, but I'll show you. You can see I was healing for about 1 to 2 points every couple of seconds. If I maximize my vigor, then it heals me for 6, which is significantly better. So that's why I add maximize to this build. Not so much for DPS. At the end, you do get a couple of spells that you can do AoE. You get a couple of hots, like Creeping Cold, that you could maximize. But usually you'd only do that on a boss. Most of the damage that you do is as melee. But a lot of your healing, because you're in bear form, is in the form of vigor. So having a non-maximized version and a maximized version of it that you can throw, helpful. It's just helpful. This room I just did is challenging on the Hardcore League. I've seen people die to those concubines. There's a cloak, but it's not the cloak that I needed, unfortunately. I want the feather falling cloak. We'll do another vigor maximized. Since these quests are so quick, I can keep it maximized, but can pick this lock. He drops a key, you can get a key, but just pick it. This is not a necessary chest anyway. The named item chest was the one with the concubines. I did not get the kobold crest because in the final quest I don't really care. That's just an optional XP. It gives you an optional chest that is arguably not worth the time. I did, however, pick up one crest. This one, the orc, but it'll just give me a minor amount of XP extra. So these can trip once I get into the Hobgoblin area. So I might summon my wolf just so he can draw some aggro. Being tripped is dangerous. So if you're on the Hardcore League, you want to prepare if monsters are going to trip you. Oh, I just got a bunch of Vorpals. You can tell when a monster's been Vorpaled, they get this sort of blue, this like, looks like soda bubbles, and they get like a blue aura, blue color. Maul will stack and the damage just keeps getting better. That's what those little red lines are. My Maul. There was a Vorpal. Optional down there, I'm gonna skip it. You know, I mean, it's not worth it to do any of the optionals unless you are grinding on a TR for XP. Then the optionals make sense, but if you are going towards level 20, 1750 favor, 5000 favor, doing optionals it's a complete waste of time. None of these characters can poison me. Don't think, but I think the Hobgoblin casters may cast magical poison on you. Okay, so let's get our little wolf buddy. Once this build gets the ability to cast while raged, I'll be raged most of the time when I'm in combat. But without the ability to cast while raged, I usually don't rage. Nine, 6, 9. Nine, 5, 5, 2. Eight, 9, 5. No, that was 6, 8, 8. It's like an inverted telephone, right? Old school. Mall. There was a Vorpal. Skip all that optional stuff. So you can see what's really helpful versus these hobgoblins is that cloak that I'm wearing. It is a damage reduction of 4 versus slashing. So these sword, not these guys, these would do piercing damage because they're shooting bows, but the sword wielding hobgoblins are doing slashing. So it's doing less damage to me. You can see sometimes over my head you'll see zeros. See, there's a 0, there's a 0, because the damage reduction is soaking up their slash. So any form of damage reduction that you can get is really helpful for the Hardcore League. And in the first area, usually I take the piercing bracers in Korthos as one of the rewards. They offer you a set of bracers. Piercing is good because it's all bow and arrows and stuff like that. But you can see slashing is equally as useful. This is one of the longest of these quests. Got the spark ring. No need for it, but I got it. I was hoping that they would make this area's loot level 2. Just because level 1, you're not level 1 for very long at all. And they could have made the gear a little bit better at level 2. The Catacombs is level 3, and then Feywild is level 5. So you're really not going to use this gear that much at all. It's mostly useless, this gear out here. But like I said, there's a few things that are worth coming out here to farm. One of them being the Feather Falling Cloak. Going to go back to the town and repair. Okay, I'm going to sell and repair and then call it, and I will pick up the video later, which will probably be me at level 5 testing more of the disease and poison and protection from evil items. Uh, I'm really hopeful that they will get them fixed by the time they do the next hardcore event, but we'll see. Oh, you see, this happened. Vorpal Greatsword permanently damaged. It's one of the things that is so frustrating about Unbound gear. You know, I didn't even quest with it that long, and it's already taken permanent damage. So you can see the system in place. You know, if you had a Vorpal item 14 years ago, I mean, it's just, you watch it just disintegrate. So, yeah, but so that's it for now. I'll catch you guys later. Thanks a lot for hanging out. Join us for more. I plan to do lore videos for each quest in DDO, as well as the raids. Plus, I will be releasing more Session 0 videos for DDO on topics such as player character races, the religions of Eberron, the Last War, and the Mournlands, the Dragon Marks, the Dragon Marked houses, and much, much more. Click the like button if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below. I like interacting with other players. My main tune in DDO is named Mary. I am on Sarlona. I also have a guild on the Hardcore League. My guild is Death Smile. Please say hi if you're on either of those servers. Subscribe to see more Adventure.AI content about DDO, Dungeons & Dragons Online, and gaming in general. I also play Star Wars The Old Republic. You can join us at Adventure.AI on Discord. Check us out on Twitch. Check us out on Twitter. You can go to our Patreon and become a patron of the channel, where you would get access to all of the scripts, the images, the music, the videos, as well as behind the scenes, and the ability to request topics for me to make future videos. Thanks very much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope your adventures go well.